Welcome back to the Off the Tools podcast with your hosts, Jimmy Hong and Joshua Grudenbohr. Today we're going to be jumping into how to generate free leads into your business. Believe it or not, there are tons and tons of ways to generate free leads to add to in addition to what you're already doing in your business. Jimmy, when you think of generating free leads, what's maybe the top two that's coming to mind?
Oh, buddy, we got to go back to door-to-door and next door neighbor marketing. It has to be. It's the thing I know for both of us, both our businesses, it was the number one thing we were taught. Like door-to-door, get the work. It's got to be those two. And if you're thinking like, hey, what's the catch or what? Well, it takes a lot of time, right? Like if you're the one that has to go do it and you don't have a team, then you have to go out there and you only get leads if you or your estimator or your painters are knocking doors. But as soon as they're not, you don't get any leads. So I would say door-to-door and next-door neighbor marketing for sure.
What do you think that looks like at a low level, and what do you think that looks like at a high level?
Great question. Low level, if you're a painter that's maybe you don't have a crew, maybe you have one painter, you have no work, and your business is like up and down roller coaster of 1 week no work, and you have to go find work, and another week you have work, but you can't spend time finding work. You should always be knocking on doors or next door neighbor marketing every single day. 5-6 hours. Like there's nothing else that's more important in your business. Either you get work or you go out of business and you can't pay your bills. So
now for the people listening, Jimmy, what's next door neighbor marketing?
Yeah, so next door neighbor marketing is anytime you're at an estimate, whether you book it or you don't book it, and when you're starting a job, in the middle of a job site, wrapping up a job site, you should be talking to all their neighbors, 20, 30 houses down one way, 20, 30 houses down the other way. And you should be talking to them, seeing what else is like on their to-do list for the year, for painting, for staining, any other contracts. And just like you're just checking in. Right? Like you're already there. You've built some trust with being the neighbor's painter of choice. So you might as well use that little goodwill to your advantage and go find more work with it.
When you were doing it, what did that more or less that conversation sound like when you finish the job site, you're finishing the day, you're heading out to neighbor number one? What's that kind of phrasing look like typically?
Yeah. So every time, let's say we finished a job site, we would go talk to all the neighbors, make it into a contest with me and my painters. So hit the first door, fun knock, right? No boring knocks. I would always go and then they would come, take a look. I'd be like, yep, happy Friday. It's Jimmy here, owner of ABC Painting. We're actually doing some painting for your neighbor. We're painting their fence, we're staining their deck, and just listing off like all the things we're doing. We're actually offering free estimates for John's Lovely Neighbors. We do interior, exterior painting, staining, fences, kitchens, bath, everything. What are you looking to get done this year? Or what are you looking to get done this spring? What's on the list? And typically, if you do that enough times, you will be able to find people that want work. And we can go deeper into that, but that's a general good start. If you're not doing it, start with that. Hit like 50, 60 houses. I don't even care if the neighbor is around the corner, not even on the same street anymore. You're still going to tell them it's a neighbor, and I would start with that.
What do you think the purpose of using that open-ended question at the end of that statement is? What are you looking to get done this summer? What's kind of on the to-do list for you guys? What's kind of the purpose of that being open-ended?
Yeah, just to get them to start thinking, right? And staying away from any questions that they can say no to. So it's like, hey, do you have any painting done? So simple, so easy for them to be like, no, I don't. But because it's just like the last thing you said, right? Your brain works very simply. But if you're like, hey, what are you looking to get painted? What are you looking to get stained? Now their brain's starting to think, and okay, painting, whoa, and then they're thinking, oh, maybe you might come across some people that are like already thinking about it. Other people that aren't thinking about it, but now you've put it into their heads. And now they start thinking about it and seeing what else they can do.
Totally. And this goes for like regular door-to-door, next-door neighbor marketing. Some people think that when they're at their door, it's the time to like objection handle to the ends of the earth. There's a point to which that is true for sure. For instance, I already have a painter that's, well, don't you think it might be smart to, kind of compare quotes, kind of see what you're getting from both ends? Again, no pressure either way. You're probably going to get that does make sense, right? So, you're going to want to make sure that realistically you are playing the numbers games. Like, I had a friend that would jog between houses.
Yeah.
So it's like if you are hitting twice the amount of doors, twice as quick, then, as you would be, well, guess what? You're getting double the amount of outputs as well.
100%. Just to add to that, man, there was times where I'd be kind of out of breath. And when that was the case, it was like they kind of respected it. Because it was like, hey, I'm hustling out here. I'm trying to work my ass off. And every time we did the Beat the Boss challenge, there was no way my painters would see me like running the doors. They're like, oh my God, I'm never going to beat this guy. So they start running. Everyone's starting to be more efficient and fast. But yeah, like do everything you can. Try to hit as many doors as possible. It's going to be your best friend.
So it's the end of the day. We started talking about the Beat the Boss challenge. What sort of conversation does that look like with the painters to enroll them to actually wanting to do this?
Yeah, great question. So typically when you're hiring painters, you should have already asked them what their goals, what they want out of this. And typically that's always going to be better than money, but obviously everybody likes money too. We also go through like, hey, whatever leads we get, you win, Beat the Boss. So usually it's like a gift card or, some money prize, anything like that. But on top of that, they also get to work on their personal skill. Whatever. If someone's like, hey, I want to be a better communicator, great. This is a great way to do it. Or if they want to move into more of a sales role, right? So that also matters. But then also like when you're talking to your team, it just depends on the person. But enrolling them, like there's different ones. Like we've done ones where we would give them a commission of the job. If I book an estimate and book the job, we'll give them a percentage of it. So a bunch of different things. Seems like money is always tied to it that people want because, hey, if you book a $10,000 job from Next Door Neighbor Marketing and you pay them like 10%, it's quite a bit of cash.
Yeah, I would do 5%, and I literally had that occurrence where we did book a $10,000 job from literally knocking on the neighbor's house, and here you go. Here's $500 for your 2 minutes of time.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Then you do it once, and they're like, "Oh my God, like I get it now." As soon as you book one, and you're like, "Hey, here you go. Here's your bonus," and they're like, "What?" And they're like, "Oh, I get it now." And then boom, it sinks in. It's perfect.
What sort of tips and tricks do you think you would give somebody they've never done this before, or maybe they're a little bit seasoned at it, but that wouldn't necessarily call them an expert? What's kind of the base foundations, tips and tricks that you would give them?
Yeah, I would say high energy first. Every time before door knocking, I would always play my favorite pump up song, or listen to like some motivational, like something to just get me going. And then from there, it's all about the energy. Like you got to bring the energy. Like I'm not coming at it as like, hey, I'm here to sell something. It's always just seeing if we can help, right? Like we're coming here to you to like see if we can even help. If you have some painting done or staining, we're just those guys that are willing to do what other painting companies aren't, because there's just so many painting companies. How do you know which one to choose? Well, here you go. What other painting companies out there that are just coming to meet you in person, introduce yourself, get to know you, and see if you need any help? Not many.
It certainly says a lot about you that you're even willing to do something like this. And if we break it down even further, the reason why Next Door Neighbor Marketing works so well is because you already have the trust factor of essentially the neighbor's name. So, hey, we're actually just at 67 Heaven Street. We're doing Jeff's house. I just want to stop by, see if you guys needed any interior, exterior painting done. And that's using their name is going to immediately bring down the barriers. And as a matter of fact, like if you even wanted to improve that, you go, Hey, do you know Jeff at 67 Heaven Street? Yeah, I know Jeff. Okay, well, yeah, we're at Jeff's right now. We're doing some interior and exterior painting. Just what sort of projects did you have on your mind for this year? Right? So, the really, if you look online, you look anywhere, they say the number one thing you want to be doing when you're doing door to door anything is triggering curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's an emotion. So if we can say, hey, do you know Jeff at 67 Heaven Street? Yeah, I do. What about him?
Beautiful. Yeah, everybody's always curious about their neighbors too. Always keeping up with the Joneses. That effect is in full play.
Totally.
Never want to get outdone by their neighbors. So some neighborhoods you'll see it, and it's awesome. Like you see one person getting something done, all of a sudden the next week you see another neighbor wanting to get something done, and then another. Because if one house looks like crap, you don't want to be the crappiest house on the street, right? Like you want to keep up. You want to make sure everything looks great. Appearances do matter as much as we think. So yeah. Plus you built the trust, like you said, right? Yeah. In terms of like timing, what about timing, Josh? Like what times do you think would be the best when you're running your painting business?
Yeah, you'll want to stick anywhere between that 5 to 8 o'clock range, just because it's when are people going to be home?
Mm-hmm.
If we are getting 1 in 8 people open the door versus we're getting 1 in 2 people opening the door, well, again, you can do the multiplication on that one to figure out what sort of output you're getting just based on door opens. So you'll want to stick within the time frame of anywhere between 5 to even 9 stretching a little bit, but you can get there. As a matter of fact, sometimes you'll really get some good people when it's dark out, because you'll be right at their front door, you'll be smiling like an idiot, and they'll go, "What's up?" And you'll be like, "Do you need painting done?" And they're gonna be like, "Dude, it's dark out." I'm like, "I know, I really want to do this for my business." And they're like, "Wow." There's a lot of admiration to be had.
They respect it. And I think timing beats everything, like you said, right? You could be the best person, you could have the best scripts, everything, say the best things, but if 1 in 8 people pick up or answer the phone or answer the door, you're just working against yourself 100%. So if you're out there at 2 p.m., sure, you might get some people that are maybe retired, but you want to get as many people to be able to answer the door as much as possible if you want success.
Super secret tip too, holidays. This isn't, if you're a
so
business
good.
owner, by the way, holidays don't exist. Okay, everything's made up in your head. People have put these things in place. No day is different from the next unless you make it different. These things don't exist. As a matter of fact, this is prime time for you, because all of the other lollygaggers are sitting at home just waiting for you to knock on their door. And guess what? You're going to get an 80, 90% door open rate just because everyone's not working and you are. What's the Warren Buffett quote? Be fearful when others are greedy, greedy when others are fearful. Right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Holidays are non-negotiable. You have to go out. And it's not like you can always have both, right? If you have if you want to watch the Super Bowl, sure, great. Go knock on doors and then go watch it.
Yeah.
It's totally good, right? So the timing is just so important. We keep coming back to it, but it's if you don't have it, then what's the point?
Totally, yeah. You can be knocking on doors at 9 a.m. and be the best person at the door, high grade person. But if nobody's opening up, you're the best person at nothing. I'd rather be mediocre at something than the best at nothing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. Yeah, and I think it's also a mindset too. It's if everyone's always oh, how do I start? It's you can just go start, right? If you're setting the goal, the number one goal, if you've never done this before, isn't hey, I'm gonna go out there and try to get as many estimates as possible. Okay, great. That's everybody's goal. Wonderful. But it's okay, well, I would be asking, okay, what do I need before an estimate? Okay, I need to talk to somebody. Okay, cool. What do I need to talk to somebody? Oh, okay, I need people to answer their door. Okay, cool. Now you can kind of figure out, okay, well, I need this amount of people to answer the door. And from those, I need to know how many of those people answer and either give me a yes or whatever. And then of those yeses, how many of those do I book an estimate? Then you have a little bit of an average of how many doors you need to knock or how many hours of door knocking you need to do to even get your first estimate. And then you can scale accordingly.
100%. You can reverse engineer your entire business just through door-to-door metrics, for sure. What sort of systems did you put in place to keep organized when you were door knocking?
Yeah, number one is like if you don't know what to do when someone says yes, you might end up losing a really good lead.
Yeah.
That's a big one. So don't celebrate. Otherwise, like it just looks super unprofessional and
Totally.
it also makes you look like a newbie. So typically we'd have our clipboards, and every time when you get a yes, it'd be like, okay, great. Okay, what was your name? Okay, Brad. Cool. What's your last name? Okay, great. Phone number. Cool. Is this your cell or home? Oh, home. Okay, what's your cell number? Okay, cool. When's the best time to contact you during the day? Oh, after 6? Okay, great. And what were you looking to potentially get done for painting? Okay, cool. A couple bedrooms, and then you can kind of go into qualifying and set them up for an estimate or a phone call if you can't get it all done in the. Because if they're like, hey, I do need painting, you're like, yes, okay. That's not what someone who's done like hundreds and hundreds of jobs sounds like. You look like a rookie, and that kind of scares me. If someone came up to my door and they started celebrating because they got a lead, I'd be like, oh, that seems like maybe a newer company. We don't want that.
What's the point of throwing in that word? What are you potentially looking to get done? What's the point of throwing in potentially?
Just so it shows them there's no risk. Like it's all just, hey, what were you thinking? It's not like, hey, what do you want to do? It's like, whoa, like, I mean, like, we don't even know each other. No, it's like, what are you thinking about potentially doing? And then just making sure they are able to open up a little more.
100%. Yeah. Now, once we have a system in place, where we have some sort of like clipboard that can be an iPad with, again, those columns that we talked about, name, phone number, best time to reach them, what type of thing they're looking to get done. How do we go about kind of developing a team to even go about doing this, or even like, within our like upper management and estimator, whatever, how do we go about getting them to do this when we're low on leads or whatever it is?
Yeah, I think number one is you as the owner need to set the standard. So you got to get out there and just go balls to the wall and see like how many estimates you can get, so you can set that standard for your team and be, because like if you don't set a standard, they're going to be like, well, this is impossible, or they just don't know where it is. They think one estimate is the ceiling. It's like no. Like you went out for a full week, not for like 5 hours a day, and you're able to generate like X amount of estimates, 10 estimates, 15 estimates, whatever it looks like. Now you can reverse engineer that and go through it with your team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, setting the standard. Don't be the do as I say, not as I do type of guy. That is the legitimately worst type of leader ever. That being said, there is a place for this is your role, this is my role, but certainly, even when we were training our painters, when we would show them like how hard they need to be scraping, how hard they need to be sanding, what we would do is we would go ham and we would go 200% effort, because we know that if we put out 200%, they're going to put in half the effort. It's the same sort of thing. If you want people to be showing up doing what you need them to be doing, you got to be jogging between houses. You got to be throwing on a smile at every single door like you're a literal psychopath. You got to be doing all of these things because, again, they're not going to meet you where you're at. You're always going to be the most bought-in person to your business. They're going to meet you somewhere a little bit below, and hopefully not that much more below, but somewhere below for sure.
100%. And I think one of the big mistakes I always see is like, okay, you have buy-in, you have like some systems, but you just don't train your guys to, run it properly. You don't train them on how to like even objection handle at the door to get like the leads. Then they start not getting great results, and you just left them to fend for themselves, and now they just hate it, right? Because they never got trained how to do it like at a high level. So you can have all those things, but training your team to be killers at the door with just like role plays, throw the hardest objection. Don't go easy on them. Don't give them like a yes off the bat and a role play, because yeses are easy, right? Give them the hardest ones. Give them the no. Pretend to yell at them and see how they respond to it, and then go over it. It's all for them, and they'll thank you for it in the actual like real circumstance. And even for the first like few doors, like I would knock with them. Same thing. I would show them how it's done so they can learn and adapt their way. And we would ask them, hey, what do you think I did well? What do you think I could improve on? What did you take away? What are you going to start improving on? Or what are you going to start implementing at the door to be able to do this? And then being able to just always keep up. It's not a set it and forget it, because you're going to eventually have to train either more people or have someone that's like your best to train like other marketers or other painters that will go door to door. And I think it's just such a underutilized skill for sure.
Yeah, and don't breeze past what Jimmy just said. Like towards the end of the day, whether we're knocking on doors or we're on a job site, a fantastic exercise that you should be doing, especially during the beginning of people's employment, if not forever. End of day, what do you think you did well? What do you think you should improve on? And that feedback from themselves to themselves is going to be infinitely more valuable than you saying, hey man, cut line's a little sloppy today, didn't really roll out your lines when you were rolling, you could do a lot better. If you get that from them, on the other hand, that'll probably be fixed by the next day. It's the same thing when we're talking about developing any sort of skill. In this case, door knocking. What do you think you did well? What do you think you can improve on? And the interesting thing about this is, more than painting, people start in wildly different skill positions. It is comical. I've never seen a bigger disparity in my entire life. Some people will literally freeze and say nothing. Other people will have the best conversation you've ever seen first door. But you really just got to meet people where they're at, and even if they're doing slightly better on the next door, the next door, the next door, next door, that's still improvement. Improvement's all I'm asking for. Right?
100%.
What sort of strategies, when we're first doing this, say they're struggling, what sort of strategies do you use to try and develop people's skill set at the door, Jimmy?
Yeah, it will always come back to the role play. Like 100%, just always going back to it. And it's honestly, like, from what I've seen, it's always the best. And then also get them to think about it as, hey, what other objections do you think will come up? What objections has come up if they're struggling? Okay, great. What's your top 3 objections that are coming up? Cool. Okay, what do you typically say? Because you gotta diagnose and see like why they're struggling, and you ask them like, okay, how do you handle this objection? How do you handle a no? And if they absolutely don't know, or you're gonna keep on like trying to figure out what it is, and then make sure you fill that gap with them, because if they don't know how to do it, and then they're just gonna lose it at the door. So I'd say that's number 1. And yeah, they got to see you do the doors, man. Like they have to see you they have to see you be an absolute killer, an absolute weapon at the door, and make sure that you're having great conversations, right? And then from there, having that feedback loop has to be tight. It has to be right away. It has to be right after. And then just giving them one piece of feedback that they can work on until they've actually got it. Because if you give them too much as well too, then it's just kind of a mess. So biggest lever skill for them to work on, as well as the role plays, and the hardest objections will make them a lot better.
Yeah, and typically what I would do is I would go like, first 3 doors, we're walking up together, and I'm going to do it. I'm just going to show you live examples. You're going to see what's up, and you're just going to see what the general vibrations are kind of turning into. Next, after that, I'm going to be up there with you, and you're going to say things. And if I need to jump in, kind of save you, I will, but you're going to say things. Fantastic. Then, after we're getting a little more confident with that, I'm actually just going to go behind the garage door. And I'm going to be at basically the driveway, but not so that the homeowner can see me. And I'm just going to listen in. And then they're at the door by themselves. They're doing the whole thing. I can't save them even if I wanted to. But after every single one of those little trials, if you will, whether I'm the one saying things, you're the one saying things, or we're tag teaming it, after the first 20 doors for maybe the first week, what did you do well? What do you think you improve on? And it's okay to repeat things. I spoke clearly. I enunciated well. I was warm and friendly at the door. It's okay to repeat things. We don't want to overly repeat things for sure too, because we really want to give ourselves props where they're due. But we're also just giving critical feedback loop. Again, keeping that feedback loop tight, like Jimmy said.
100%. I think another important thing that we should probably talk about is how lawn signs play a role in this.
Sure.
What do you think? What do you think, Josh?
Depends on the strategy that you want to employ. Nah, Jimmy, I'm not going to answer that question. I think you're the guy to answer this because Jimmy, and I'll take it and you can take it from there. Jimmy would essentially go up to these doors and be like, hey, do you need any painting done? What sort of projects can we take off your hands? It's like, great. I have a business, I'm looking to drum some more work. Would I be able to put up a lawn sign, for XYZ amount of time? And you found a tremendous amount of success with that.
Yeah, it was kind of, I didn't even expect this because I just asked for support as like a newer business owner, especially my first 2 years. Of course, you should always put a lawn sign on jobs that you already are doing. Mm-hmm. We would even put it up beforehand. We'd ask them, hey, can we put it up maybe a month before we do the job? And they're like, yeah, of course. If they love you and they're ready, then it doesn't matter. We've also pushed our limits to see who else we could put a lawn sign on. So even if you went through to a door and they're like, yep, we have nothing, no painting done, no staining, we got it done 2 days ago, all last week, everything. We just still went for the ask. And we still asked hey, newer business owner, to support our workers, support everybody here. You mind if we just put up a lawn sign, just for the first 2-3 weeks, just to help out? And especially the people that you meet at the door, you're like, wow, they are awesome. I really hope they are a client, but maybe they just aren't. They're like, yeah, go ahead. I've had so many people that are just like, yeah, go ahead. I don't care. Throw up a lawn sign and great. And then as soon as they say yes, we always asked about the duration of how long we could put it. Mm-hmm. If you tell them, hey, can we put it up for a week or two? They're always going to say a week. Hey, can we put it up for 2 to 3 weeks? They'll be, yeah, you can put it up for 2 weeks. So we always ask for the month. Hey, can we put it up for a month or two? What works better? And they're like, yeah, a month. And it's 4 weeks of just your lawn sign up. Not everyone's going to say yes. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that's clear. But there's just absolute great people, human beings out there that just want to help support your business as you're starting, as you're continuing, everything. And it doesn't hurt to ask. Mm-hmm. So it'll always be a no if you don't ask. That's a classic cliche for a reason. And it's honestly led me really, really far. So I will keep on doing that.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to highlight, what sort of personal development comes from this too. And that can be a really good thing to lean into, whether you're trying to convince somebody to do this within your business or to see the value. It's hey, wouldn't getting better talking to strangers probably add some sort of benefit to your life and open up some doors? Right? And it's the reason that I feel a lot of people that we knew went through such pivotal personal development processes is they were just going through rejection therapy over and over and no problem. It's all good. But you know what, and we would ride our yeses. We would ride our yeses and it would be every single day a mini lesson in perseverance. Mm-hmm. It's these trials and tribulations, they're hard and it almost seems there's no end in sight every single time. But then somebody says yes. And by the way, guys, you can probably be pretty bad at this and still get results. That's how low the bar is, because nobody wants to do this. And so if you finally want to be somebody that's different than everyone else, you probably got to start doing stuff that nobody else is doing.
100%. Well said, man. Wow, well said. I will preface this too. At some point, you will get bottlenecked because, of course, if you're not out there knocking on door, your estimator's not out there, production managers, painters are all busy, then obviously lead flow will take a hit. So there will be a point where you got to maximize that, because if you're not getting leads while you're not out there doing like physically getting leads, they're just not going to be coming, right? If you can't get leads when you're sleeping, if you can't get leads like in the morning while you're setting up crews, then that's going to be something that will be a bottleneck at some point in your business. So find different ways. Like there's so many different ones: Google ads, Facebook ads, Meta ads, to get leads coming in, do the estimates, and now add the door-to-door, add the next door neighbor marketing on top of those estimates you go to. And then you book the jobs, great. You're going to do more door-to-door, next door neighbor marketing, like 2 or 3 more times at the start of the job, middle of the job, end of job. And like, if you follow all that, you could be the worst marketer I've ever seen and you would still get jobs because you're using all the multipliers to be successful with your marketing.
If you find a way to figure out door-to-door, Meta ads, and Google ads, congratulations. Aside from production, you have $1 million business on your hands. It's as easy as that. It's as easy as that. And like Jimmy said, like, door-to-door isn't your steak dinner, it's your side salad. And it's like, it's not to say that's not going to fill you up, and it's not to say it means nothing, and it doesn't mean it's not tasty, and it doesn't mean there's nothing there. There's certainly something there. However, it's not the forefront of everything. Multiple fishing poles, multiple ponds. Don't forget to fish. I think that's all the time we got for today, though, Jimmy. That was a fire one, I gotta admit.
That was unreal.
If you guys want to see what it might be like to get Meta ads or Google ads into your business, we do all that over here. We're currently taking on around 5 business diagnostics per week. So if you want to see what it might be like to work with us, we'll have some links down below. As always, appreciate every single one of you guys listening. I feel like I even learned something new in this episode here.
Me too.
So we'll see you guys in the next, and take care.
Let's go. Cheers.